I'm El Rustique. I'm the CEO and founder of Gratis. We're a mobile payments and social impact company based in Mountain View. So I want to say a little bit about myself because it's going to explain the rest of this presentation. So I'm a social scientist with a background in education and qualitative research. I pivoted my career several years ago because I was inspired by the work that I did at Stanford University. I launched the first partnership between the Graduate School of Education and the D School. And I was inspired by the notion that we could use the principles of product design, empathy, human-centered implementation, prototyping, to solve complex problems. And that's why I founded Gratis, because I wanted to solve this seemingly simple problem. So how many of you have ever been in that situation where in a hotel you wanted to leave a tip for that housekeeper, valet, or bellman, and you didn't have the cash? Yeah, okay, we've all been there. So, you know, for those of us who travel frequently and stay in hotels, it's a pain to not be able to express our appreciation. But it's even bigger problem for employees and employers in an increasingly cashless society. So we've solved that problem through our platform. It's the first integrated mobile payments platform purpose-built for the service industry that enables digital tipping, real-time guest feedback, and big data analytics. We believe this has value not only for the employee because it enables them to recover a lost opportunity for a tip, but because it also provides employers a way to increase their employees' income, to improve their morale, to raise motivation. This has an effect on service quality and also performance, which can lead to online reviews that are positive and help reduce the likelihood for staff turnover, which in metropolitan areas like San Francisco can be up to 70% and cost a business up to $25,000 per employee. And so it looks like this. So this is how a lost opportunity for a dollar tip can actually lead to thousands of dollars saved for the business. So let me tell you how it works. So basically, Gratis generates QR codes for the business like hotels. We assign those QR codes to employees and departments. And the hotel, the business, integrates that QR code into their own collateral. So it kind of looks like this. Okay? So imagine yourself as a guest and you walk into the room. There's a little sign that says, should you wish to express appreciation for your housekeeper, scan this QR code. There's a coat check, same thing, and here's a cafe. So it's very simple. In fact, you know, we benefit from the fact that hotels are integrating this into their own marketing, which saves us the cost of that. So as I was saying, you point and you scan the QR code, you tap to confirm the employee, you tap to leave the tip, and you tap to send feedback. That's how it works. Let me go back to this. So you have 3 taps and you're done. There is no app to download, so we take out that friction. And there's no personal information that's exchanged. It's basically anonymous tipping, and it's occurring in this closed loop between the hotel employee, and the guest. So here's how our payment flows work. So the guest tips, we process the payments. Currently we're using Stripe, and I'll get back to that in a minute. We transfer it to hotels and their employers. They disperse it to their employees, or we can disperse and pay out to the employees directly, working on a kind of digital wallet. So the way we're working with hotels is this tip jar method or direct to employees. So what's the market opportunity for a product like this? The tip service industry is $1.5 trillion, and the mobile payments industry, as you know, is expected to reach $1 trillion by the end of the year. There are 4.9 million workers, $28 billion in tips. And what's interesting here is that there are $11 billion in unreported tip income, as reported by the IRS. So we can assume most of that is cash, and that Gratis at some point will get a portion of that, transform that cash into mobile payments. The hotel and travel industry is our vertical. It's a $300 billion market with 5 million rooms and 55,000 hotels. Our market is the go-to-market regional strategy. We're focused on the top hotel markets in the US, starting with the Bay Area with 90% occupancy rate and a 5% growth. Some of you in the area may notice that all of these hotels that are popping up around, along 101. Here's how we're gonna make money through multiple streams. So we're charging a setup fee for the hotel with licensing, annual renewal. The monthly subscription for SaaS is going to include reporting services for the employee. It's a tiered pricing model based on number of rooms, employees, and the type of hotel. We'll have a nominal transaction fee that'll be negotiated somewhere between 5 and 10%. We figured out that the initial processing fee will pass on to the tipper. And then there's big data analytics, performance, predictive, transactional, operational, which will sell as business intelligence with velocity of transactions. So our competitive landscape. So we're in the intersection of mobile payments, the standalone tipping apps, which we're a part of, consumer feedback, and then there's these social peer-to-peer apps. But we are different in several ways. So with regard to payments, we are P2P, and we're not POS like Square. We're unlike Venmo. We use QR codes to enable anonymous tipping. Again, I don't want to have Rosa, the housekeeper's information on my phone, or George, the bellman, as well. With regard to feedback, we're collecting that information in a unique way. We're doing it at the time of tipping, which is probably the closest moment that you can get to a customer's emotions and actual experience. So our data, we argue, is insightful, immediate, and actionable. So for example, if you're a hotel manager, you don't have to wait for that negative review to be posted on TripAdvisor or Yelp and about a rude employee, and that rude employee is also getting that tip instantly. So a question I'm often asked is, why can't Apple Pay do this? Well, Apple Pay is not our competitor. We actually integrate Apple Pay into our platform as a payment option. So potentially they're more of an acquirer than they are an acquirer than a competitor. And then with the digital tipping apps, it's a relatively new field. It's wide open. There's about a dozen of us. And we vary in terms of our payments technology, our go-to-market strategy, our focus, and our revenue model. So our traction, we are a very early stage company. We're pre-revenue, although we just got 3 paying customers. We are been mentioned in the New York Times for solving the problem or attempting to do it. And also, what else did we do? Yeah, so our product is on the market and we're getting sales and also we're being mentioned. And I've also won a few competitions for female founder and social impact pitches. So here's our go-to-market strategy. We're doing what early stage companies are doing. We're working on our enhancements to the product. We're converting our pilots to paying customers, working on penetration, And we're looking at the West Coast, frankly, because that's where we are, what we can afford to do. Our milestones. So we are looking at the end of 2019 to get to 200 hotels. That's where we feel like we're going to break and start to gain some traction. We're trying to raise $575,000 in pre-seed money to start getting us towards those 200 hotels. In terms of our goal, we really need to round out our team with engineering, sales, operational capacity, and with this particular type of business, shore up customer success. So here's our team. You're not going to find designer company labels. We're very scrappy. You'll find a lot of degrees, domain experience, and diversity. So I just want to say that we're about making money, but we're also about making social impact. And we're concerned about not only the tip service workers who are poised to be casualties of a cashless society, but women who, we're 70-80% of those people. And I know that this matters. They spend their money on groceries or children. I know this because my mother was a hotel housekeeper. And I always knew when she earned tips because she would take my brother and sister and I out to McDonald's. So Gratis is not only about payments, we're about enabling the opportunity for financial inclusion and financial empowerment through mobile technology. And I invite you to try our app. You may be able to actually use your phone and point at the QR code and leave a tip as you wish. Thank you.
Let's give a big round of applause for Elle. Okay, any questions before we let her go?
Yes.
Get back.
Might be mistaken, but QR codes generally do require a native app on your phone to scan them. So are you getting past that, or you're assuming somebody will have a QR code app on their machine, on their mobile phone?
Yeah, you may not know this, but if you have a recent phone, they've actually built the QR code into the camera. So if you just point it, it goes directly to the URL. So there is no app that's required for this, although we could do that eventually if we want to provide more API integrations and get the actual information on the tipper. But for right now, we've eliminated that friction. And you can try it.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions?
So if there's no app to download,
Mm-hmm.
the receiver, how would they actually receive the payment? How'd that work?
So what happens is the payment comes to us. So all the tips are coming through us. And we're associating that with the QR code and the business. So then we just transfer it to the hotel. And the hotel sends it to their employees. But also the QR code is associated with you. So if I scan this, your face pops up and it says tip you. And so we have a record of who's actually receiving the tips. That make sense?
Yeah, so the hotel,
Mm-hmm.
let's say there's no hotel, it's just one
Tip.
hotel.
Yeah, so all the housekeepers have the same QR code, and all the tips, all the payments that are processed as a result of that QR code are going into this tip jar. And so it's a hotel's responsibility.
How they sign up, do they do the website, or do they get hotels in the app, or how does that work, the hotel sign up for your service?
Yeah, the hotel, it's sort of like an enterprise model. We talked to the hotel about how they want to implement this system, and then they do it. But right now, it's a lot of it is manual. But we will eventually be able to do it, sign up for if you're a hotel and you'd like to have this system in place, here are the benefits. Sign up, you get a QR code, and do this, and get X number. You have to put in the hotel or your employees, and then it gets assigned that way.
Let's take one more question.
Yeah. Yes.
Just as a follow-up to the gentleman's question, Do you foresee on your roadmap in the future whereby the every housekeeper, as long as whoever has a mobile phone, the code gets directly linked to them, and they can kind of link their bank account and get it directly?
Yes.
Simply because I myself, way early on in my career, 20 over years ago, I worked in a hotel before, and I recall that the hotels, even though they charge 14% service charge, the service charge never ever go to the staff.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So we're
Right.
disrupting that. You would get your tip directly. You get a ping. You've been tipped. Here's your feedback. Thank you for the extra towels, etc. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Let's give one more, then we'll take a break here.
Oh, yes.
I did have a question about on the social angle that you have. A lot of servers aren't interested in that 40% of unregistered tips number going down, because that's going to ultimately affect what their take-home pay is from a cash point of view.
No, so you have to think about the tips that are coming there as tips that they wouldn't otherwise receive. And so that's going to go up 20 to 30%, even if it's tipped or taxed.
And it's going to move in that direction as well, right?
Right.
It has to move more cashless. But I think what I'm asking for is it puts you in an interesting predicament where that's inevitable, that's going to happen, but you have a real social interest in helping those people. How do you foresee yourself helping them through that transition as ultimately, unfortunately, as we move towards a cashless society, it's affecting them?
How do we help them? So if they're in a hotel, then their tips are declining. And so they're going to say, yeah, I'd like to replace my tips, and I would like to be part of this. I would like this hotel, our management, to put this in place. Does that kind of get at your question?
Maybe reducing some of the fees that you were talking about.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The numbers end up adding up to more. You just have to educate the servers on why that's, or the institutes on why that's, work out better.
Absolutely. And we hope to do that in the first year to show, look, anything that's above and beyond what they have is already like 5% increase. And our research indicates that with technology, people tip more, and they also tip more frequently. And our target market is the business travelers. Look, exactly, millennial, mobile carrying people. And there's 1.3 million business trips a day. Okay, thank you.